Yu-Gi-Oh! Virtual-On Episode 8. I know that's not much of an explanation of an intro, but that's what we're doing, so might as well get into it. Anyway, in Episode 8 of Virtual-On, again, not too much stuff happens. In fact, actually less happens than last episode. All that really happens is that, well, Dartha's brother, or, who was his name I'm blanking on, god damn it, the actual brother, the one that's the scrub, god damn it, I hit myself sometimes, he duels one of the whole aquatic knight thingies and wins because Exodia obliterates. And then we have a triple threat duel between, of course, Dartha, his brother, and Leethra. That was it. It was Leethra. Dartha, Leethra, and, of course, Edward. And you'll never guess who wins. That's right, the protagonist. Who could have seen that coming? Yeah. Again, the protagonist winning, nothing new about that. It's an interesting three-way duel, even though the link mechanic, it really doesn't make sense, considering the fact of, like, the extra monster zones would have a freaking seizure, or considering there's usually supposed to be two of them. But whatever, I give that one a pass, considering I'm also guilty of the same thing in the old series of Ragnarok. So, I'll give them a pass. As for the actual duels in and of themselves, the only one I have a complaint with is Leethra, considering he's playing an Exodia deck, and half the cards in his deck don't scream at me Exodia. Because half of them don't even look like they would help Exodia. Like, I play the Silvori Kaukos in, like, Zur Knights of Dark World and stuff like that. Just, like, I know he's a scrub, but he just, like, none of this screams Exodia to me. So, I don't know, maybe just me. Hell, when I was first playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, I put Exodia in my decks. Unfortunately, there were still, like, 60 card decks, and the only thing that made an Exodia deck was the fact that the Exodia pieces were in the deck. So, I'm guilty of the same thing. You know, no one's perfect. Other than that, just a nice triple date. Although apparently we had to know that Dartha and Leethra need to have a therapist because they have serious family problems, which they freaking do, considering it's their family that's causing all this. Edward is really the third wheel in all this, despite him being the protagonist. So yeah, Dartha just tries to constantly beat down on Leethra, and Edward just kind of there. He's just more being a nuisance between. It feels like this is the Dartha versus Leethra duel, and then Edward used the intrusion penalty from Mark 5 and just interrupted and be like, no, I want to play too. I mean, that's not what it is, but it kind of feels like that at some points, you know, like, he's almost useless. Although Dartha keeps freaking trolling out Edward, considering Edward keeps using the Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, try saying that 3 times fast, and he keeps making him use the effects early, which is what he keeps wanting, and Edward keeps falling for it every time. Like, Edward, shouldn't you know by now this is a trick? Nope. Not to mention, freaking Dartha has 2 Mirror Forces set in one point, because again, Mirror Force isn't limited. I think it's unlimited even. So yeah, he pulls a freaking in Sora from Arc 5 where he just had like 2 face downs of like Punch in the Box or something like that, just like one of those whole, like, Jack-in-the-Box things, but it's a fist inside. Hey, I forgot the exact name, but that's probably because it's an anime card and is therefore terrible and oddly specific. So, yeah. Other than that, there's not much really happening in this episode except for deck building and shit like that. Just mostly, like, a duel. Which is nice, I gotta admit to them, considering sometimes it is just nice to have a duel where, or rather an episode where just nothing happens. Like, again, it's sort you like episodes where there's plot, but sometimes it's just also nice to have an episode with just mindless fluff. So, after all the episodes where we had big epic explanations, it's kind of nice to have a bit of a laid back one. It was kind of harsh on it when I reviewed it, but when I first watched it, but in hindsight, it's not that bad. So, yeah. All that said, Virtual-On Episode 8, it's a really solid episode, gets I guess a B. Should I continue this ranking thing? You tell me, considering I'm just going off of the top of my head. And remind you, when I give letter grades, I'm giving them based off of the American in A to F system. In which case, if you get a 50%, that means you failed. Because in America, if you're only half right, you're all wrong. Welcome to America. Anyway, Virtual-On Episode 8. It's a good episode, it's mindless filler, but hey, at least it isn't a recap episode. That's safe for the next episode. But we'll get into that when we get to Episode 9. Till then, this is Great James signing off. Bye.